WHGE 95.3 FM. Coming up, the Open Eye.
Those of us that indulge in or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or ego diddling. We do so because the chains of oppression on our people's minds are deep and difficult to remove.
Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM, the education advocacy station. If you tuned in here, you tuned in to get an education and support our advocacy. Yes, indeed. That's what you did. I'm your third eye optometrist, your host, Patrice Gibbs. So let me get this sound right. Okay. And as we always tell you, every generation has its purpose. Ours is to reveal the truth and reverse the brainwashing. And that's what we do here. Okay, today I'm going to, I'm going to get my disclaimer out the way. And then I'm going to get it started. And somebody we got to talk about. All right, let's do that. All right.
The views and opinions expressed on Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM, nor our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
WHGE 95.3 FM. All right. Hey, what's up, Steve? Good morning. Yes, indeed. The first thing I got to talk about is the greatest, the realest TV dad in television history, the great John Amos. Actor John Amos, who gained widespread recognition in the 1970s when he portrayed the patriarch of the classic sitcom Good Times. He died on August 21st of natural causes at the age of 84. There's some controversy and what have you because his death wasn't reported for like 6 weeks after he died. He died in August, and we just found out this week that he died. John Amos once said that his dream was to play professional football. The path to the pros was rocky and riddled with injuries, yet the path veered off into a prolific acting career that spanned over 50 years. John Amos' film and television credits range from The Mary Tyler Moore Show in 1970s to Uncut Gems in 2019 and beyond. He became a household name in the mid-1970s when he was cast to play the hard-working father, James Evans Sr., on Norman Lear's family-based comedy, Good Times. Yes, indeed. In later years, Amos received many honors, including 3 TV Land Awards, marking his legacy as part of the cast of The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Good Times, and the acclaimed miniseries, Roots. In 2020, the Garden State native was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Yeah, he had football dreams. He had planned to be a professional football player. In 1967, he signed as a free agent with the Kansas City Chiefs. That didn't last and he was released from the team. Yet this time, the head coach, Hank Stram, offered some advice that would change the trajectory of Amos's career and dreams. Stram told him, "You're not a football player. You're a young man who happens to be playing football." Stram also encouraged Amos to follow his passion for writing. Advice Amos took to heart. Hollywood stardom came. Amos went on to find his footing in writing and acting. He landed his first major role in 1970 when he was cast to play Gordie Howard, the weatherman on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Not a lot of people remember that. He then appeared on the sitcom Maude as the husband of Florida Evans, of course played by the late, great Esther Roll. Roll's character led to the spinoff Good Times. In his 3 seasons on the show, Amos was hailed for his characterization of a black father, and rightfully so. I never saw anyone on TV that reminded me more of my own father. His realistic portrayal set the tone for the future shows on black family life, particularly fatherhood. At the time, Amos openly expressed his view of wanting to showcase a positive image of a working-class black family facing a plethora of hurdles living in inner-city Chicago's public housing projects. With that, he pushed for more authenticity in the scripts and to less of what he saw as lowbrow comedy, as displayed by Jimmy Walker as JJ. He also noted that there were no black writers on the show, and those who were on the writing staff didn't understand the nuances of black life. In a 2017 interview, Amos said he took issue with some of the attitudes depicted in the scripts and told the writers, that just doesn't happen in the community. We don't think that way. We don't act that way. We don't let our children do that. By the end of the 3rd season of Good Times, the public clash led to Amos being fired by Norman Lear. In 2019, Amos and Lear reunited for a one-night TV special airing live in front of a studio audience. On The Family and Good Times, a star-studded cast including Viola Davis, Andrew Barr, and others portrayed the Evans family. Amos returned as a different character, assuming the raid of shady Chicago politician Fred Davis. If you remember, in Good Times, you remember Fred Davis. Of course, following Good Times, Amos appeared in other popular series over the next few decades. One of his most noted roles was the portrayal of the older Kunta Kinte in the miniseries Roots. He earned an Emmy Award nomination in 1977 for Outstanding Lead Actor for a single appearance in a drama or comedy series. In 1996, Amos was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series for his role in the sitcom In the House. He also guest starred on television shows including The District, Hunter, and The Fresh Prince. And he went on to star in several movies. One of my favorites was his role in Let's Do It Again. And also, he was also in Die Hard 2. First time I saw him play a villain. And Mr. McDowell on Coming to America, and in the sequel, Coming to America. He earned critical acclaim as a playwright following the debut of his one-man play, Haley's Comet. Amos enjoyed a brief music career after releasing an album of original country songs. I didn't know that. And one of them were titled We Were Hippies. And he also became a children's author with the illustrated book, A World Without Color. Yes, indeed. John Amos, like I said, bar none, the greatest TV father ever of all time. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye, with your host, Patrice Gibbs, Third Eye Optometrist. You know, when I was coming up, my family, my mother and my father, I'll tell you an interesting thing about that. They made sure that we spoke well, that we had good diction, and that we spoke intelligently, and we spoke to be understood. We were taught to communicate well. Okay? Interesting thing about that is some of my family and some of my playmates and people I grew up with and what have you talk white. You act white. Now I always thought that was real crazy, because when black people display their intelligence, they are not imitating whiteness. Because intelligence is not inherently a white trait. Black excellence is real and has nothing to do with white proximity. Now, my father grew up in the country, a country boy. But his manner of articulating, his diction, the way he spoke, you would never know it. And I knew other people that were from the country, and I asked my father about that one time. How is it that you and your siblings, who were born and raised in the country, didn't have that country accent? And my father told me, oh, that was because of my mother. And my mother was the local school teacher, and she wasn't having it. She made sure that we were articulate. My father was partially blind, okay? And he couldn't see to read by the time he was 30 or so. So when the mail would come in, we would read to my father. We would read the mail to my father. And if we came across a word that we couldn't, that we couldn't read or whatever, that we didn't know, we would spell it to my father, and before we even finished spelling it, he'd tell us what the word was. He made sure that his children were well read. Yeah, and of course my mother, personally, my mother was a major factor in that. Mm-hmm. There were things that my father did as well. When I saw John Amos on Good Times, I said, wow, he acts like my dad. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that my father coined the phrase militant midget, which he applied to me. And of course, he has some other expletives that he added to that word. All right. WHGE 95.3 FM. What's up, Brother Jardea? Let me tell you something. This is a quote from James Baldwin. Well, if one really wishes to know how justice is administered in a country, one does not question the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, or the protected members of the middle class. One goes to the unprotected, those precisely who need the law's protection most, and listens to their testimony. Ask any Mexican, any Puerto Rican, any black man, any poor person. Okay? Ask the wretched how they fare in the halls of justice. And then you will know not whether or not the country is just, but whether or not it has any love for justice or any concept of it. It is certain in any case that ignorance, allied with power, is the most ferocious enemy justice can have. It's from James Baldwin. Another quote for you. I think think every person that calls themselves a leader, a preacher, a policymaker of any kind should ask and answer the question in his own life. How will my people stay on this earth? How will they be educated? How will they be schooled? How will they be housed? And how will they be defended? The answers to these questions will create the concept of enduring nationhood, because it creates the concept of enduring responsibility. I am saying whatever the solution is, whether we are in charge of our own destiny or whether we are not in charge, on that point, we got to be clear. You're either free or you are a slave. That's from Dr. John Henry Clark. Hey, Sister Tracy, peace. Yes, indeed. Yeah, your dad brother knew who that was before I even finished reading. People pay attention. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go here. School shootings. It's still going on. They still haven't done anything about it. Does it happen worldwide? Well, let's take a look. In Switzerland, the Netherlands, Australia, these are school shootings from 2022. Switzerland, the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina, Spain, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Japan had 0 school shootings. Estonia, Hungary, Greece, Kenya, Germany, Turkey, Russia, China had 1 school shooting that year. Canada, France, Brazil, 2 school shootings. Afghanistan had 3. Nigeria, Pakistan had 4. India, 5. South Africa had 6. Mexico had 8 school shootings in 2022. I pause for a reason. The United States in 2022 had 288 school shootings. Okay? We don't live in a civilized society. We live in a controlled barbarity. 288 school shootings. And every time it happened, what do the sellouts for the NRA? You're politicizing it. You're politicizing it. It's just crazy. Like I said, it's organized barbarity. That is the society that we live in. WHGE 95.3 FM. Open eye. All right. I see you there, Brother Vaughn. Yeah. WHGE 95.3 FM. The third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs here. Got this from Sister Nzinga. Stick this up your fact checker. The United States has become a place where entertainers and professional athletes are mistaken for people of importance. Okay? That's how you got an idiot, barely literate moron, a rich kid, spoiled rich kid in the White House to begin with. I needed a doctor. I needed a teacher. I need farmers every day. I need truck drivers every day. I've needed an auto mechanic, a plumber, a house painter, and a lot of other everyday people. But I have never not even once, needed a pro athlete, a media personality, or a Hollywood entertainer for a goddamn thing. That's sort of, remember what Malcolm told us. They push up these entertainers as if they're spokespeople, and not to say some of them aren't intelligent and make some good points. But you got too many of them that are a bunch of damn fools. We don't need them. Yeah, this is a statement that's been making the rounds on social media. And in my humble opinion, it is the ugly truth. What do y'all think? I used to think they believed his lies. That's not it. They know he's lying, and they really don't care. The thing is, he hates who they hate, and that's enough. Yeah. That's the actual fact. And let me tell you what happens following no food. And this is for some of you black Republicans. This is what happened to, what's this hussy's name? I think her name's Tina Peters. Yeah. Imagine throwing away your career, reputation, and livelihood for a company, so much so that you commit crimes based off the lie told to you by the man who runs the company, to where you get sentenced to prison in your 70s because of the crimes that you committed. And for that commitment, and while you're getting held accountable for the crimes you committed, okay, you know he's lying. The whole time he's lying to you. And he's lying to you about the thing that you committed the crime for. Trump's own advisors told him he lost the election. But he made the decision to continue a push to overturn the results. See, this is what you call F around and find out. And that's what Tina Peters is dealing with, because this is how it started. Okay? Now she's facing 9 years in prison. And rightfully so. Yeah. And you know what was really nice about her sentencing? And that was the judge was having none of her BS. He told her, your reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done. And hereafter your lies are well documented, I'm convinced you would do it all again. And that's what he told her. And she stood up there, oh, I can't go to jail because of my health, and I sleep on a special bed with magnets and all this, that, and the other. Yeah. Oh, yeah? 9 years. 9 years. And now at 70, that's probably a death sentence for her. Yeah, that's for her. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Right. The Colorado judge who sentenced Tina Peters to 9 years is now receiving death threats. Not surprised. Not surprised, because this is how these nuts operate. Court administrators are reviewing threats they received after the district court judge in Grand Junction ordered Tina Peters spend 9 years behind bars for her role in the 2021 breach of her own county's election system. 21st Judicial District Judge Matthew Barrett handed down the sentence Thursday after he said Peters had found a way to profit off of lies and convinced she would continue to do so if she remained out of prison. He didn't send your ass to jail. We are receiving threats and compliments regarding Judge Barrett's sentencing to Tina Peters. Will Slider, court executive for the 21st Judicial District, said in a statement Friday afternoon. We are currently reviewing and taking appropriate action as necessary. Former Mesa County clerk and recorder Peters, 68, was convicted in August of 3 counts of attempting to influence a public official, conspiracy to commit criminal impersonation, official misconduct, violation of duty, and failure to comply with an order of the Secretary of State. Yeah. And she did not testify during her trial, but pleaded with the judge and begged for mercy. Oh, I don't deserve to go to prison where other people have committed heinous crimes. I'm not a criminal. Yes, you are. That's why I sent your ass up for 90 years. She stole information from the voting system and tried to use it to prove the election was fraud. Yeah, so along the way, Peters became a cause celeb among election conspiracy theorists locally and across the nation. She became known as Hero Tina and Clerk Peters, labels that her social media followers still use. Yeah, use that. Go stand outside the jail and holler that out. Yeah, because that's where she going. 9 years, Yana. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. You know, it's something that, it's some things that you just got to laugh at. Okay? For instance, and I talked about it a few weeks ago, the Asians that let these white people use them, okay, and to overturn affirmative action. And, oh, yeah, we're against affirmative action because black people are getting in these colleges and what have you, and they're taking my spot. They're taking your spot. Okay. Well, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in college admissions. And what happened? The number of Asians that were admitted to Ivy League colleges dropped right after that. Now y'all can't figure it out. See, here's the thing. But, yeah. The number of black people admitted to these colleges stayed the same. The percentage of black people stayed the same. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't black people that took your place. You didn't qualify. It was one of those, what do they call them? One of those legacy white students that sit in the back of the class and cheat on tests and get their answers from their fraternity and sorority and crap. While that black student studied hard, got 100 on their paper. Okay? It wasn't that black student that took your place. You didn't measure up. That's what the hell happened to you. And now you want to sue. Now you're sitting around scratching your ass, wondering what happened. Yeah, wondering what happened. You didn't measure up. That's what happened. Now you want to sue. And now you're wondering, wow, that white supremacist used me. And you're surprised. You're surprised that a snake bit your ass. Jeez Louise, that's comedy. That's comedy. That's what that is. I'll tell you some more comedy. It might have been Thursday. I think it was Thursday. I'm not actually sure where this rally took place. But one of these MAGA rallies, some black MAGAites, or whatever you call them, MAGA nuts, showed up at the rally, and the white people jumped on them and whooped their ass. Now, I don't know what they might have said when they got there. Hey, we're one of you. Like hell, voila, boom. But you're a MAGA. And the funny thing about it is, when you ever deal with a black Republican, okay, they try to act like you're dumb for not agreeing with them. That's how they try to gaslight you. They're stupid as hell. Like they want to act like you're dumb. And I tell you something that, takes me, takes a lot of strength from myself. Is when they come tell me, you're on the Democratic plantation, or they make any comparisons like that to slavery. Okay? Because either they don't know how bad that was, or they just turn a blind eye to it. Sometimes I go with the former because they've been so brainwashed. How dare you compare the horrors of slavery to political choices? And out your damn mind. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. Yeah, I think I'll come back to this one. Get with this. Okay. All right. I'm Patrice Gibbs, third eye optometrist. All right. Thinking back to that James Baldwin quote, if you want to know, okay, where the law enforcement stands, whether we have justice in this country or not, ask those of us that are victims of the injustice. This is how slimy, this is how determined they are. Michigan State Police troopers forced a black motorist to defecate in public in an apparent false DUI arrest. A black motorist has decided to sue Michigan State Police after troopers subjected him to a humiliating traffic stop. The incident was captured by police-worn body cameras. Dakare Lariat says he was arrested on the false assertion that he was intoxicated when he was pulled over in Benton Harbor earlier this year. Lariat, who filed his lawsuit on Wednesday, claims he was racially profiled when troopers pulled him over in his Cadillac SUV, made fun of his name, and subjected him to homophobic remarks. In the clip, Trooper George Canyu insists that Lariat was under the influence when they stopped him. I don't know what he's on, Canyu can be heard saying to his partner Matthew, okay? I'm going to assume it's weed and alcohol. There was no apparent proof that Lariat was under the influence. The troopers still handcuffed him and transported him to a hospital to be tested for alcohol and drugs. He was then taken to jail despite his alcohol test being negative. In a statement to Metro Times, Lariat explained how things somehow went from bad to worse. Police did a scan of his stomach. He said before they accused him of trying to smuggle drugs into jail by way of ingestion of a bag of drugs. Daria told the publication he also suffered an extremely humiliating moment where he was forced to defecate publicly while Trooper Kanya yelled at me not to flush. Daria was initially charged with operating under the influence of a controlled substance. However, according to a federal complaint filed by his attorney, prosecutors immediately dismissed the case due to lack of evidence and the unlawful nature of the stop and arrest. Simmons also said that the actions of the Michigan State police officers were part of a pattern and practice of racially discriminatory policing. After the incident, Larry had located a now deleted X account that he believes was operated by the officer who arrested him. He allegedly contained racist and misogynistic tweets. No kid. Big surprise. Big surprise. And it goes on. And let me tell you something. That part where they made him defecate, they would have had to beat the shit out of me. Might get in trouble for the FCC saying that, but that would have been the only way that happened. I'll be damned. You must be out your mind. And it goes on. In a small town in Mississippi, black folks are being arrested for this reason, according to the feds. A 50-page report revealed the Lexington Police Department arrested nearly 1/4 of its city's entire population in the past 2 years. A Mississippi town is attracting national attention as the Department of Justice's investigation just uncovered a historic level of police corruption. And to no one's surprise, the victims are, you guessed it, mostly the city's black residents. The city of Lexington, Mississippi, only holds about 1,400 people, 76% of which are black, according to World Population Review. Excuse me. Despite being a small city and having one of the poorest economies in the state, the Department of Justice report found Lexington's police department continues to disproportionately benefit from excessive fines, which is also known as policing for profit. From 2021 to 2023, Lexington increased police spending from $600,000 to $900,000, according to the report. To collect this money, it's reported the Lexington Police Department has arrested about 1/4 of the city's population since 2021 and collected fines totaling more than $1.7 million. When you break it all down, that would mean every Lexington resident, man, woman, and child, owes $1,400 to the Lexington Police Department. But it gets worse. Through a combination of poor leadership, retaliation, and a complete lack of internal accountability, Lexington Police Department has created a system where officers can relentlessly violate the law. The report listed examples of Lexington Police Department civil rights violations against its own citizens, including sexual harassment against women, racial discrimination against black residents, and even unjust sentencing for residents who fail to pay their fine. Give me some money or you're going to jail. One Lexington resident was reportedly chased by officers through a field and tased in his head before beginning to foam at the mouth. As the report mentions, this was not the only time the man encountered police, as he was jailed several times for simple offenses like stealing a cup of coffee. By the end of November 2023, the Department of Justice found the man owed more than $7,500 in fees. The Department of Justice year-long investigation into the Lexington Police Department began in November 2023. As you can imagine, what's now being called the biggest police corruption case in Lexington. History isn't the first time this small town is making big headlines. The city has been sued many times over the years for police brutality and other forms of misconduct. Back in July of 2022, ex-police chief Sam Dobbins was fired by the city's Board of Aldermen after the audio caught him bragging about shooting an N-word. And he bragged about it more than 100, shooting the N-word more than 100 times. I remember that. No actions have been taken in direct response to the Department of Justice findings, which are intended to help Lexington Police Department, the city of Lexington, and the community understand the scope of the problem and the reforms that will be needed to address it. That investigation doesn't go deep enough. Because what they're not telling you about are the rapes and the murders. So it doesn't go deep enough. If the police chief, the former police chief, was bragging about shooting a nigger 100 times, what else have they done that we didn't hear them brag about? See, the report says sexual harassment. It went beyond that. This is how scummy and low-lighted these bastards are. You want to know about justice in this country? What are the chances both of John would have received 10 years for murdering Amber Geiger after entering her apartment illegally? What are the chances? Slim and none. They'd have executed his ass. What are the chances some of her family will hug him as his family hugged her? Every time I saw that video of his brother getting up and hugging his sister's murderer, and when they go, he need his ass whooped. You talk about coonanism. How's it that black people always expected to be compassionate, but rarely receive any compassion? WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. Yes, indeed, Sister Tracy, that part. I'm not going to be hugging nobody that murdered my family. Yeah. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. And I know I've been going off a little bit today. I hope I don't get the station in trouble with the FCC. And some things that needed to be said the way they needed to be said. I want to advise you something. Don't use social media less. Use it more intentionally. And have a reason for this. Follow people who inspire and motivate you. Engage with experts you can learn from. Create genuine, positive friendships. Stop mindlessly scrolling, complaining, hating, and engaging in negativity and bitterness. And I'm going to tell you why. Because some of the people that I've engaged with and met on Facebook, like Brother Jardea, Sister Tracy, Sister Sherry, have become friends beyond the Facebook page, beyond social media. Right? This past Thursday night, I attended online on a Zoom call the 10th anniversary of the Black Awakening movement. Okay? And I don't get to tune in Thursday nights too often because of my work or whatever. Okay? But it was a beautiful celebration. And it celebrated Sister Rhonda Sekmet Ra, who was the founder, founded 10 years ago. I really salute this young lady. Okay? And one of the things that, what I said during the celebration was I thank the Black Awakening movement for the work that they've done, because so many of our people have been brainwashed. Okay? I thank the Black Awakening movement for the dedication that they have to our people. Okay? And I thank them for the unity, the example of unity that they display. Because awakening our people is the path to global African supremacy. I want to read something, share something with you from the Black Awakening Movement's website. Okay. We are living in an illusion. Racism is not what many of us believe it to be. For centuries, Black African people have been oppressed in a variety of ways, including through slavery, genocide, violence, destruction, segregation, assassination, manipulation, and imprisonment. Many people believe that racism no longer exists on a large scale. However, oppression against Black African people continues to occur. Okay? And on a large scale in the U.S. and worldwide. Racism is systemic and occurs in every American system and practice, as well as worldwide, including criminal justice systems, education systems, economic systems, entertainment systems, the media, health systems. And stop right there. Because something I often tell you, both men, Black men and Black women, suffer racism in healthcare. But when it comes to our women, the healthcare system is to women what the police are to Black men. In our political systems, psychological practices, physical violent practices, religious, spiritual practices, and social practices. We have been misinformed about racism. These systems are so ingrained in racism that almost every attempt to radically change the condition of Black people in this society has led to assassination or infiltration orchestrated by government agencies. Those in control of these systems have used various tools in order to mask these atrocities and change the views of the masses about racism, i.e. misinforming the public using the news and educational systems. And that's a fact. I'm going to give you some more from Black Awakening Movement on upcoming shows. And one of the things that we often talk about is reparations. And of course, whenever we bring up reparations, you always have those that want to gaslight us about it. For instance, this European who said, my ancestors were stolen by Vikings as slaves. Do I get money? Does Europe for the Barbary pirates? Dumbass. Asian commentator Amy Chen answered him. And she said, I don't know why you're asking these low-level deflective questions, because in case you haven't noticed, I'm not the one who decides who receives reparations. However, in the 12th century, there was a French cleric who tried to demand reparations from the King of Denmark for damages done to his monastery and the enslavement of French people during the Viking raids. He didn't receive any, but if you generally feel that strongly about it, rather than hijacking conversations about reparations for Black Americans, put in the labor into your own advocacy work. However, I think you might run into a couple of problems. The first being, there are no Viking government that materially benefited from the Viking raids in existence today. The second thing, I think you're going to have a hard time making the argument that Viking raids had any systems of oppression that they put in place that are continually to cause you harm, similar with the Barbary pirates. When those entities were defeated, their practices of enslavement and the system of oppression that they had put in place were defeated. But in the conversation about reparations for Black Americans, for the African in America, it is not only that the United States legally supported, facilitated, and materially benefited from chattel slavery, it also is that following the Confederate defeat in the Civil War, the United States paid former enslavers reparations, broke its promise to pay the formerly enslaved, and implemented nearly 100 years of Jim Crow, second-class citizenry, and terrorism against Black people. And those systems of oppression and systemic bias and institutional biases continue to harm Black people to this very goddamn day. Make no mistake about that. Yeah. I'm going to close out with another quote here. Yeah, this is someone that Black Republicans love to bring up and blame for our situation, for our condition. You don't wipe away the scars of century by saying, now you are free to go where you want. Do as you desire and choose the leaders you please. You do not take a man who for years has been hobbled by chains, liberate him, bring him to the starting line of a race saying you are free to compete with all the others and still justly believe you have been completely fair. This is the next and more profound stage of the battle for civil rights. We seek not just freedom, but opportunity, not just legal equity, but human ability, not just equality as a right in a theory, but equality as a fact and as a result. And that's a quote from Lyndon Baines Johnson, who I say is a study in contrast because he was a Southern cracker. He would call a Black man the N-word in a moment, but he had the most effect on civil rights and Black freedom than any other president. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. It was my pleasure to attend, Sister Tracy. All right. I want to thank everyone for joining me on Open Eye today. And as we always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you. And don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. And Patrice Gibbs, The Open Eye. like I said, like I always say, and I'm going to add this to it, awakening is the path to global African supremacy, because the world was a much better place when the African ruled.